What's up, Bath, Michigan, and Marquette? Come on, don't tell me you've never wanted to be a rock star and just address the room, like get some excitement going around the world. It's early childhood. Yes, there we go. I thought I was going to have to read those slides, and over 40, I cannot see. This is much better for me. Thank you. Good morning. My name is Lisa Brown, and I am fortunate enough to work for MAISA, the Michigan Association for Intermediate School Administrators. And you heard from Dr. Severson this morning, our executive director. And there are so many people in this room who are members of MAISA in just various ways, and also partners. And really, what we're known for at MAISA is supporting regional service agencies. So we're the organization, nonprofit organization, who convenes, like these events that we're doing today, convenes people, brings people together, and coordinates. There's a whole organizational structure to the work that MAISA does. There's a lot of networks, and we're going to learn about some of those things today. I'm supposed to move this slide. Okay. One way that the organization maintains its structure is through the strategic plan. And I know you all are absolutely riveted with that we're going to be going over this strategic plan because that's so exciting. But the heart of the strategic plan really focuses on two bullet points here. And it's really about the collaborative supports and services and partnerships. So if you think about what the collaborative supports and services are, it's really about connecting the members of the organization, so superintendents, general education administrators, early childhood administrators, so many others, bringing those people together to do collaborative work. And that is really representative a lot about early childhood. It's very much a collaborative space to be in. The other piece that I want to emphasize from the strategic plan is about partnerships. So at MAISA, we want to be able to come along and partner with our state organizations like the Michigan Department of Education and MyLeap, MDHHS, who we have representation from today in the room, and other partner organizations. I personally find that the partnership and collaborative work has been the most meaningful to me and exciting, and it has really helped me grow in my space as an educator and someone who deeply loves Michigan. So having the ability to be able to connect with MyLeap, to be able to discuss ideas, to think about the future, to be able to connect with MDE, to be able to connect with MDHHS, and mostly just being a part of the organization. So I want to recognize a couple of the state partnerships that we have. You heard Emily Laidlaw talk about the PDG grant. It stands for the Preschool Development Grant. And the PDG grant was awarded to the MDE probably about 4 years ago. It was a pretty significant amount of money. It was a federal grant. And the intent of that grant coming out of Health and Human Services was to create some collaboration across different sectors of the government to support early childhood. Everything from, child care, workforce, to programming. And currently, the MyLeap department holds that grant and has been very successful over the years of doing high-quality, expending high-quality programming through grants that has helped the state in a lot of different ways. And we're getting ready to wrap up that grant cycle, and so you'll have some knowledge about what some of those programs and deliverables are. Another thing that I want to mention to you today is the My Family Engagement Centers. We have Johnny and Shannon representing their team today. If you look on your table, you'll see 2 flyers for the My Family Engagement Centers. Go ahead, you can look at them, they're so pretty. But it has the whole entire team from the My Family Engagement team at MyLeap. They're going to be hosting a webinar in partnership with MAISA, and we're going to be talking more about those family engagement centers because they really are an integral part of the early childhood and family partnerships across the P26 system. And then you've heard a little bit about the Great Start collaboratives. This is obviously a way for families to connect and for us to move forward in the early childhood space in another way that's very collaborative. So we recently updated our website at MAISA. If you haven't had a chance to look, please do. The organization has changed a lot over the last few years. When I started with MAISA, I think there were 10 people. That was 5 years ago, almost. In January will be 5 years. And I just counted, so I'm having a hard time keeping track. There were 50 heads on a Zoom screen the other day. So we have like around 50 people at the MAISA organization right now. So it looks a lot different. Our capacity has grown. We're deep listeners, and we're ready to do work on behalf of the field and really convene the people to do the work on behalf of the field. But I wanted to lift up just a couple of organizations, networks that we have at MAISA that help support the work. I can't see the screen. So we have the Early Childhood Administrators Network, the General Education Leadership Network, the ISD Public Relations Network, the Special Education Instructional Leadership Network, and the Early Education and Technology Leaders. And I just wanted to point out these specific networks because when Corey asked us to stand, we were able to kind of acknowledge those networks. But there was one more too, MEDAL. Anybody familiar with MEDAL? So they're supporting my ECC with the internet connectivity and cybersecurity for all the EC programs in the K-12 buildings alongside with the data hub work that's going on. So I just wanted to add that to our networks. But thank you all so much for being here today. I'm very excited to hand this over to the new ECAN director, Amy Brauer.
All right, thank you. I am very excited to be here today. I've got some friends there at table 34 sending me signs. That's great. But really wanted to share with you around our ISDs and why ISDs. So really thinking about this as part of that early childhood fabric and really truly an integral part of the early childhood system and fabric in our communities and in our state. As I was considering or thinking about this, a story came to mind of how many child care calls I fielded over the years when I was working at previous ISD. Parents see the ISDs and your locals as places to connect, even in our early childhood field. And so today we're going to lift that up a little bit and really think about that influence and authority that we have as ISDs and how we can continue to build a great system for children and families in Michigan and in our local communities. So ISDs, each of you are uniquely positioned in different ways to support this. There's a variety of programs and services in that birth to 5 range that each of you have. We also have multiple opportunities for collaboration. So I was thinking about, those state partnerships that Emily was talking about, MAISA networks that Lisa had just spoke about, but also your relationships in your local community with your local community partnerships and or even your local school districts. Each of those are a touch point for families, and those are ways that we can connect them to services that we offer. The other piece is really thinking that you have that big picture perspective, that birth to 25. So as John laid that framework this morning, really considering that, whatever happens in early childhood is going to come to your kindergarten doors. And so we need to help those children and families and figure out, what are the ways that we can support them so that they are ready to hit that kindergarten door and do all the things that are next expected. One of the unique pieces about early childhood is really thinking about it from that recruitment standpoint. Everything that your early childhood staff does is going to be from a recruitment standpoint. Families don't always know about our programs. There's not a list somewhere. I tried. I have 4 kids, and my first one came, and I'm like, all right, we're going to get them in stuff. And where's that list? There just isn't one. So you have to be either really resourceful, which I'm pretty resourceful, and very persistent in case anyone else wants to know. So we're going to get there. We're going to figure it out. But not all families have that skill set yet. So we want to walk alongside them. That's what our Great Start Collaboratives are for. Help them walk alongside. So when we think about it from that recruitment, what do you need? Where do I go? Where do I even start? That's why people called me for childcare. They didn't know where to go. So we point them in the right direction. And that can look different whether we're thinking about that 0 to 3 framework or that 3 to 5 framework, and what's available in our local communities, because it's a mixed delivery system. Doesn't look exactly the same in every system. So thinking of your role as an ISD, you have a lot of knowledge that those families are seeking. And so you have that influence and that power to help guide them in that direction. And you have a lot of expertise there in your staff to do that. So lean in on them, figure out how we can best connect them, and then continue to grow forward. So where are our little ones? They're with their families. I drew out a couple data pieces because I knew I wouldn't have a lot of time with you. And this one I think is really important. About 2 out of 3 of our kids are in families under age 5 with both working parents. If we're both working, then where am I? I've got to be with someone. So that could be family, friend, neighbor care. It could be looking for a childcare. If you haven't had to look for childcare in recent years, it's tough. Like, that better be your second call after you get those lines on that test. You're not getting in. I'm just saying. It's hard. And from your seat, you got to think about your staff. Where are your staff kids going to go? Like, I had a district I was working with trying to figure that out. Like, could I offer childcare? That would be lovely. How can we do that? So it's going to impact us all when that system isn't at the capacity that it needs to be. Preschool. So this is our kids count data for our state. And I want to say this is kids not in preschool, but it includes both children ages 3 and 4. So we've made a lot of progress, and we're still making progress on offering preschool for all in that 4-year-old range. So we can kind of see that in that data set here. But that is a piece of our community fabric. And as we're implementing that, as you know, we're really looking to start to think about capacity, about space, about staffing. So those are things that we're going to continue to grow in. So when you start thinking about childcare, and we talked about that, this is a resource for you. There is a QR code up there of looking at what does it look like in our community. So MSU did some data mapping around infant and toddler care. There's a lot of different options on there when you get there, but I just want to point this piece out specifically. And if you notice, this is done by census tracts, and 73% of the census tracts would be considered a child care desert. Either you have one spot and 3 kids need it, or you don't have any at all. That's for our 0 to 3-year-olds. So we have higher ratios of 1 to 4 for they can get the care that they need. So we know we need to grow there. And you can see real quickly when you flip the maps that it moves a lot into the blue. So we are seeing that bigger investment in our preschool. There's more opportunities for them, but that is a piece of our fabric in our community. So we're making progress, but there's still much more to be done. And you can see across the state, it really varies. You got lots of red, lots of blue as well. So I want just to touch point on those pieces of data. I'm going to hand it over to Lindsay Curie in our northern site today, and she's going to lead you through the next activity. So thank you.